Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Brian Zambano. I'm our Vice President and Chief Development and Stewardship Officer. And I can't tell you how excited we are to finally present to you our new strategic plan. Over the next hour, you're going to be hearing from leaders at the San Diego Foundation, walk you through each of the 4 pillars of our new strategic plan. And you're going to hear us say words like we and our a lot. Know that when we do, we mean you. It is your philanthropy. It is your charitable goals. It is your passion for this community that helped make this San Diego Foundation such a great place to work and such an impactful organization. Thank you. Really, thank you. It is a privilege working with you all. And we're just so excited to let you know a little bit more about where this organization is going in the future, to hear from you where you see yourself in our plans going forward, and to make sure you know we will always be here to support your charitable goals. So we want to hear from you. At the end of the presentation today, you'll hear ways that you'll be able to reach out to us. We'll be reaching out to you. And we very much want to hear your thoughts about the strategic plan, your thoughts about your own charitable goals going forward, and how we at the San Diego Foundation can continue to partner with you to make those a reality. So I know we're all pretty much Zoom experts now, but I'll do the obligatory explanation about how to use the chat function. Please do. Again, this is all about hearing back from you about all the content you'll be hearing. So throughout, please do drop a question, a comment, any kind of feedback in the chat question area. We do have a jam-packed schedule today with, I'll be honest, a lot of information coming at you. So if we don't have the opportunity to respond to you today, know that we will. We will follow up with you in the coming days. We'll have a member of our staff reach out to you to answer your questions, to give you the information you want, and hopefully continue the conversation from today about how you see yourself in the strategic plan and how we continue to support your philanthropy going forward. So first up on our list of leadership here at the San Diego Foundation to walk you through our strategic plans, particularly our mission, vision, and values, is President and CEO Mark Stewart. Mark?
Hi, thanks, Brian, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a real great pleasure to be with you. When I started at the San Diego Foundation, my very first week, I headed up to the League of California Community Foundations with our chair-elect, Kay Coleman. When Kay and I attended this event, we heard from so many other community foundations about how they were operating from their strategic plans and seeing that their plans were becoming real. And as they kept going around the room doing this, Kay and I looked at each other and said, we need to get a strategic plan and we need to do so soon. So in September of that year, 2019, Kay impaneled a group of board members and senior staff to begin that process. And we did so listening to our community. We had surveys and interviews to really hear what people thought was important for San Diego, what they thought was important for the San Diego Foundation, and what keywords do they see for the future. Well, we got underway pretty remarkably. And one of the very first things that we did is we did away with a 42-word mission statement that nobody could remember. And that mission statement really should be your purpose. Why do you exist as an organization? And so what we came back with were 6 key words: that we inspire enduring in philanthropy, and that we enable community solutions. And really, you could have put a period there. There's some other words that go around that, but we are all about inspiring enduring philanthropy and enabling community solutions. From there, we said, what are our core values? What do we hold dear? And if anyone might remember, the San Diego Foundation had 6 core values. They were posted on a couple walls of our meeting rooms, but nobody could remember those 6 key words. And nor could they remember the exact connotation or denotation for those words. And so we came back as saying, you know, these not only have to be memorable, but these things that we hold dear and precious. And so as you can see on the screen here, we have now 3 core values. And quite simply, they're all people, all partners, and our region. That's what we hold dear. And that's what we'll remember in all the work that we do moving forward. From that, we then also said, what are our guiding principles? How are we going to approach our work with colleagues, between the board and the San Diego Foundation, as well as our nonprofits and those who hold funds at the San Diego Foundation? And while you might take a few minutes to read these two paragraphs, really in the very essence of it, we want to be servant-led. We are here to uphold those who invest their funds with the San Diego Foundation, uphold the nonprofit community, and really uphold everyone who lives within this region who has dreams of prosperity, of thriving, and belonging right here in San Diego. Before Jenny goes on to the next slide, what happened at this point is COVID-19 descended upon our community. And that's when we shelved our strategic planning process to really focus on how do we respond to the needs of the community to bring comfort, hope, and relief to those who were so adversely affected by the pandemic. But then in September of 2020, we decided, you know, things are starting to abate. We've been doing so much in the community. Let us now turn to strategic planning so that we could figure out, as we move from a really disaster and pandemic response, how do we start to think about recovery, rebuilding, and resiliency? And so we put together our strategic planning task force with several new members, and again, bringing back our senior staff. We renewed our survey work that we did so we can compare and contrast what had happened pre-pandemic to the experiences within the pandemic to really start to get to our work. And one of the very first things that we started to focus on was a new vision for the San Diego Foundation. For many of you, a vision should be that North Star. It should be more than words on a page. It should be an ethos or a belief of what you want to achieve over the next 5 to 10 years. And every action that you have as an organization moving forward should be focused on achieving that vision. And what I'm really proud about is that our strategic planning task force and the senior staff really narrowed in on just 5 key words. And then our board unanimously supported those 5 words. So really our vision moving forward is just, equitable, and resilient communities. For me, I think of the most, of those 5 words, the most important for us to remember is communities in the plural, because we know that San Diego is not a monolithic community. We have communities that are defined by race, by ethnicity, by geography, by shared values, shared work, shared experiences, and that we need to be mindful of each one of these communities and listen and find out what are their needs and how can the San Diego Foundation be most helpful to each one of these communities. So I'm really pleased and proud of where we landed. And then having completed our vision, then allowed us to work on developing our strategic priorities for the organization. Everything has to emanate from this vision. And then everything that follows has to be geared toward earning that vision. And so now let me turn to my colleague, Susan Gwynn, who is our Chief Innovation Officer and joined us in August of 2020 to describe for you some of the very first work we did in our strategic planning efforts.
Thank you, Mark. And hi, everyone. Our new strategic plan includes 4 strategic priorities. Each will serve as our compass as we continue to partner with our donors, as well as nonprofit, civic, and government leaders to serve San Diegans in our capacity as the region's community foundation. They include advancing racial and social justice, fostering equity of opportunity, building resilient communities, and developing world-class philanthropy. I am so proud to live in this vibrant, diverse, and generous region. In spite of a global pandemic, our community continues to show its resiliency to create positive change every day. As we go through each priority area, we ask, where do you see yourselves in this plan? Your values, your hopes, your dreams for San Diego? We'd love to hear from you. I would love to share a video that showcases how each and every one of us has the opportunity to be part of a movement of creating I'm sorry, my screen froze. I would love to share a video that showcases how each and every one of us has the opportunity to be part of the movement of creating just, equitable, and resilient communities. Together, we are the heartbeat of San Diego.
There is a rhythm to our community, a cadence. We are connected to this tempo, these patterns. Every day, we can choose to bring opportunity and positive change to this positive place. Because this pulse, this heartbeat, it binds us and reminds us that we are all connected. We want to see everyone flourish in this place we love. By providing equitable opportunities throughout our vibrant region, we can create resilient communities where our family, friends, and neighbors can thrive.
You know, even all choppy on Zoom, I still love that video. It's great. You gotta check it out again. Thanks. So I actually have the privilege of introducing our next leader here at the San Diego Foundation. As Mark mentioned, we tried the strategic plan a couple years back before COVID hit, and that interrupted it. But what it also allowed to do was a silver lining, which was it allowed us the chance to have Pamela Gray-Payton join our team. And I can't tell you the impact Pamela's had on our team, which is kind of a nice ironic twist because she is our Vice President and Chief Impacts and Partnership Officer. And you'll have the privilege that we've all had here at the San Diego Foundation to hear Pamela walk through the first three pillars of our strategic plan and all the amazing work that Pamela and her team and all of you and all of us will be undertaking in the years ahead. Pamela?
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to have an opportunity to share with you the first three pillars of our new strategic plan. To say that we are excited about the work ahead is really an understatement. So much effort has gone into building a strategic plan that we think reflects the future of the San Diego Foundation and our important role in our region. So we are very excited about the work. Susan shared with you the 4 strategic priorities there, so you see them on the slide. What I would like to do is to kind of level set, if you will, by offering some words, some definitions for those words as we envision the work that we will be doing. You know, we believe that building a region that envisions just, equitable, and resilient communities demands an intentionality about our work, and it requires us to have a common understanding of the goals and the language that will guide us. Below, we've identified a few keywords and their definitions that we wanted to share with you today. No need to worry, you will not be tested at the end of this presentation. These words and their definitions will live on our new strategic plan website that will be unveiled sometime today, I believe, if not first thing tomorrow. But just to get us all where we are working with common language, we wanted to offer you what we see as definitions, and these are the definitions that we are engaging or using in the work going forward. Discrimination, the unfair or prejudiced treatment of people and groups based on characteristics such as race, gender, age, or sexual orientation. Diversity, what are we talking about when we speak of diversity? Now, we've listed a few categories there, but there are certainly many others as well. On our next slide, we've talked about equity, and we really, you know, that's a word that for some is a bit confusing, but we think that it's really important that we have a good understanding of what we mean when we talk about equity. the guarantee of fair treatment, access, opportunities, and advancement, while at the same time striving to identify and eliminate barriers that have prevented the full participation of some groups. The principle of equity acknowledged that there are historically underserved and underrepresented populations, and that fairness regarding these unbalanced conditions is needed to assist equality in the provision of effective opportunities for all groups. Also on this slide, obviously, are the definitions that we use for inclusion and just. And then we have on our next slide, ethnicity and race. Ethnicity, the designation of groups such as Irish, Fijian, or Sioux, etc., that share a common identity-based ancestry, language, or culture. It's often based on religion, beliefs, and customs, as well as memories of migration or colonization. And then race, my goodness, just one word can create such emotions for people. Race, the socially constructed system of categorizing humans, largely based on observable physical features, such as skin color or ancestry. There is no scientific basis for or discernible distinction between racial categories. Very important for all of us to know. In our next slide, here is what we mean when we talk about racial justice, and you will hear quite a bit about racial and social justice throughout our strategic plan. Racial justice, the systemic fair treatment of people of all races that results in equitable opportunities and outcomes for everyone. All people are able to achieve their full potential in life, regardless of race, ethnicity, or community in which they live. And social justice, the concept of fair and just relations between the individual and society. This is measured by the explicit and tacit terms for the distribution of power, wealth, education, healthcare, and other opportunities for personal activity and societal privilege. Excuse me. In our next slide, resilience. We talk about resilience quite a bit throughout our strategic plan, the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or significant sources of stress, such as family and relationship problems, serious health problems, or workplace and financial stressors. Now, one of the things that we have spoken about at the foundation quite a bit recently is establishing and building community resilience in the face of COVID-19. How do we help our communities stand up against future catastrophes? Systemic discrimination, the patterns of behavior, policies, or practices that are part of the structures of an organization and which create or perpetuate disadvantaged or racialized persons. Thank you. So for our first priority, I wanted to dig a little deeper. And first, I'll start by just helping those of you who were not in the room with us over several months as we were developing the strategic plan, understand how we came to identify these 4 areas of priority, these 4 pillars. And I will say that, there are so many issues that we evaluated, discussed, and questioned. What is our unique opportunity as the San Diego Foundation to advance the issues in our region? And there were some things, there are some issues that there are some other organizations that are doing fantastic work in those areas. And we thought it would not benefit the region for us to take those on as priorities for us, but to find a way where possible to integrate some of those other priorities in the work that we do. But allowing ourselves some fairly broad categories with some specific tactics that would allow us to advance these issues is the approach we landed on. And I'm, as I said earlier, just really pleased with the 4 priorities that we've identified. So first, when we talk about advancing racial and social justice, we will support policies and programs that seek to eradicate systemic discrimination. We'll address the root causes of inequities as well as their manifestations, eliminate policies, practices, attitudes, and cultural messages that reinforce differential outcomes determined by race or social status. We will focus our efforts on generational wealth through homeownership for Black, Indigenous, and people of color, as well as reducing health inequities for San Diegans. With each strategic priority, we will have examples of deeply rooted, collaborative, and impactful work that is ongoing, as well as new opportunities for innovation and partnerships. A new Priority 1 initiative we are very excited about launching is our helping other nonprofits with their DEI journeys. That's why we're raising funds to support a diversity, equity, and inclusion training program for nonprofit organizations who are committed to building a race equity culture within their organizations. Something that we heard loud and clear from several nonprofit leaders in the region, that if they had the tools, if they had the resources, they would love to offer their own teams training in the DEI space and helping them build a culture, a race equity culture within their organizations. Now, many of them want to do the right thing, but just don't have the tools and the clear understanding of how to do that. And so our DEI fund will provide resources for nonprofits to come to the San Diego Foundation, apply for grants, and those grants would be used to help them in offering training within their organizations. Another Priority 1 is our Black Community Investment Fund. We established the Black Community Investment Fund in September of last year in partnership with the Central San Diego Black Chamber of Commerce. Here we are going to support through philanthropy the creation of new community-led opportunities that will improve education, pre-K through college, employment, entrepreneurship, housing, and the creation of generational wealth for Black San Diegans. The BCIF complements the work of government and other task forces on inequity. Why do we want to focus on the Black community? Well, like many American cities, explicit and structural systemic racism targeting African-American residents has deeply impacted generational upward mobility within San Diego's Black communities. Although representing only 5.5% of the region's population, African-Americans are disproportionately represented in police arrests, racial profiling, gaps in student achievement, school disciplinary actions, homelessness, unemployment, and homeownership. And we believe that our initiative, the BCIF, is really going to effectively address those issues and create better opportunities within the community and help support our goal of building generational wealth. With Priority 2, we will increase access and resources for San Diegans facing barriers to realizing full and healthy lives. We'll offset the unequal allocation of and access of goods, resources, and services. We'll increase access to quality early childcare and education, enhance opportunities to obtain college degrees for underrepresented San Diegans, and utilize impact investing to promote the equitable flow of capital for social good. This work is reflected in the efforts of our Community Scholars Program, which we're very proud of, and in particular, our Community Scholars Initiative. To fuel the recovery of our economy, more San Diego students need to get to and through college. In California, more than 60% of job openings will soon require some form of college education, with nearly 25% requiring a bachelor's degree. The Brookings Institute and the San Diego Regional Economic Development Corporation found that 1 in 3 San Diegans are Hispanic, yet 85% of Hispanic residents do not have a bachelor's degree. Everyone loses when students who could succeed don't. The Community Scholars Initiative works with high school districts and education-focused nonprofits to provide need-based scholarships and wraparound services, including academic tutoring, family support, and counseling to help increase college access and success for hundreds of San Diego students. Priority 2 is also reflected in the work of our Early Childhood Initiative, which focuses on increasing access to affordable quality early care for children in San Diego, strengthening families, and supporting a competitive regional workforce. This was a major funding priority of the San Diego COVID-19 Community Response Fund during the pandemic, but we actually started this work, including research and grant making, a few years ago, thanks to a generous gift from our donor, Guy Klum. Early child care and education is essential to the health, development, and future success of San Diego children and the regional economy. Children who are provided with early education opportunities do better in school as they grow older and are more likely to attend college and be prepared for careers in the workforce. However, prior to the pandemic, only more than 38%, I should say, of San Diego children ages 3 to 5 were not enrolled in preschool or kindergarten, and 9,600 children were on a wait list for subsidized care. Also, the cost of childcare is a major barrier for local families. So we will be addressing these issues through our strategic plan. These numbers have only grown as a result of COVID-19. And in fact, we're hoping to do a lot of research to gather current data so that we have a very, very good understanding of the current status in our community, as well as what other organizations are doing. Now, we really want to understand the nonprofit ecosystem and what is currently happening in the region before we jump into many of these areas. With priority 3, we are going to establish and support programs that enable communities to adapt and persist through changing circumstances like the COVID-19 pandemic, wildfires, and other challenges. We'll support and encourage communities, regional, ethnic, socioeconomic, to be resourceful, creative, and capable of taking effective action in the face of change or adversity. Now, one of the things that I feel we all have learned and seen through the COVID-19 pandemic is that some communities and people in certain communities were more deeply impacted by the pandemic than others. What we want to understand is exactly why and what can we do as the San Diego Foundation through our partners to increase the resiliency of those communities and those individuals so that when another catastrophe hits our region, we are not going to see the same degree of suffering and the same people most impacted by the suffering. Now, what can we do to support our communities, support our residents, to improve in terms of education, job opportunities, workforce development, neighborhoods, so that the suffering is not felt and really contained within certain areas of the region. And our focus will be on increasing access to education and skill building, addressing environmental issues, and improving mental and behavioral health. Priority 3 is reflected in our decade-long award-winning environment and climate program, which provides leadership and philanthropic investment to create a more sustainable path to economic growth and a better quality of life. The climate program advances science-based collaborative development of local policies and programs that reduce our region's polluting emissions and minimize local risks from climate change. A recent example is our Memorandum of Understanding with the Port of San Diego. Our collaborative partnerships will explore opportunities for program alignment and investment to support coastal access, climate initiatives, and coastal resiliency, environmental conservation and stewardship, environmental justice, and a thriving, sustainable waterfront. San Diegans will benefit from the partnerships with equitable access to and enjoyment of a safe, healthy, resilient coastal environment. Priority 3 will also lead us into new regional challenges, such as improving mental and behavioral health. This year, we'll work to integrate mental health and social emotional support in college access strategies, host convenings to learn how to support social and emotional learning, and develop a strategy to support policy and systems-based innovation to networks of care, including coordination of child and family mental and behavioral health services. I've summarized a lot in just a few minutes. I was given 25 minutes and I have not used my full 25. So we can just chat now, or I can turn it over to Brian, who is going to summarize priority number 4, and then we will have a chance for question and answers at the end. Thank you very much. Brian?
Thanks, Pamela. As I'm sure many of you all have said about me before, I can talk for a while too. So I'm sure we'll fill in a little bit of time here, but that was great. And So as Pamela mentioned, our fourth priority is delivering world-class philanthropy. And that's where we've looked at all these great programs and initiatives in our first three pillars, and we're so excited to work with all of you and others to see where they see themselves in these priorities. But also, we always want to make sure and make you know that we are here to make sure that we support your charitable goals, regardless of what they are, and that the San Diego Foundation is the place where you can partner and realize everything you want to do in a fun way, we hope, and in a joyful way, because that's what philanthropy is supposed to be. And I'm looking forward to telling you more about how we're going to do that. So how are we going to deliver world-class philanthropy? Well, we're going to do it in three ways. First, we're going to expand our capabilities to provide the best-in-class donor services for all of you. Secondly, we're going to make sure each kind of donor we work with has specific tailored approaches to make sure that their specific goals for their philanthropy are met. And then lastly, we're going to make sure that we are better engaging our fund holders and our donors with the issues that matter in San Diego and the issues and nonprofits that support those areas. I always say an informed donor is an impactful donor, and that's what we want to make sure everyone at the San Diego Foundation is. So I'll start with the first one, expanding in our internal capabilities to provide best-in-class donor services. What does that mean? Well, as many of you who partner with us know, interacting with the San Diego Foundation in internal capabilities way is making a contribution to your fund, making a contribution to one of our programs. It is making a grant. It is talking with our team of philanthropic advisors and donor support services to help you get money in and get money out into the community. We want to do better. We hear you, we survey all of you, and thank you all for providing your feedback, both in our surveys and in interactions one-on-one with our team. And what we hear from you is we can improve those areas, and we very much want to. So know that we are increasing bandwidth and internal capabilities. So when you make a contribution to the San Diego Foundation, you see it in your fund quickly, it's easy to do, and you have an easy and efficient way to make a contribution to your fund. And then on the flip side, on the granting side, know that we're expanding our resources there as well. So when you make a grant, it is easy to do. It is efficient. Your online capabilities make it an efficient way to get money out to the nonprofits you care about. There's ways for you to learn more about those nonprofits, track your funds, see investment returns. Know that we are providing significant bandwidth and resources for additional staff, additional technology, and we will reassess those capabilities on an every other year basis to make sure that we're not missing areas for improvement. We're going to continue to survey you. We're going to send benchmarks. We're going to make sure that you tell us and we hear from you how we can do better. And we're going to commit to doing better because we want to make your experience with the San Diego Foundation as joyful as possible. Secondly, as I mentioned, we are going to make sure that we are connecting with each of our different donors in a way to help them realize their philanthropic goals. Now, you say different donors, what does that mean? And I always kind of joke, there's no such thing as a San Diego Foundation donor. There is a whole variety of different kinds of donors that we partner with, and it's one of the more exciting and fulfilling parts of working at this organization. Many of you are individual donors who have donor advised funds with us, and thank you very much for that. But also know that on this call today, people we work with are corporate donors. We work with a lot of local San Diego-based corporations and companies to help facilitate their charitable giving, to help with employee giving, matching programs, things of that nature. As you know, we've had tremendous partnerships with county and city government to help facilitate funding through the community. In addition, we have nonprofits. We have more than 300 what we call agency funds, and those are funds that nonprofits set up with us so we can invest those dollars, we can grow those dollars, and we can help provide sustainable philanthropic support for those organizations going forward. We have our regional affiliate program. We have 8 different regional affiliates throughout San Diego County where people in their communities can give locally and grant locally and make impact locally. We also have professional advisors, wealth advisors, trust attorneys. These are people we partner very closely with to make sure that their clients, many of you have these people supporting your financial decisions and your philanthropic decisions. And we want to make sure that we're partnering with them so we are part of your total financial planning back office. And also we have donors to our programs. These strategic initiatives we've outlined, our climate program, our opening the outdoors, early childhood development. We have the largest scholarship program outside of the university system in San Diego. So as you can see, we have myriad donors, and we want to make sure that we have customizable approaches to each of those different donor types. So they all need different things, they all have different goals, and we want to make sure that we are engaging each of you and providing the kind of support that you need, whether you're an individual, a corporation, a government entity, a nonprofit. We're the place where you can partner and get everything you want to out of your charitable goals, and we're here sort of to support them. And then lastly, what we say is we want to enable our donors to make significant impact through their granting. And how do we do that? We love being at the San Diego Foundation and having our own programs like scholarships and the environment and the like. But we also know that a lot of our donors, we're a granting organization too. So when you make a contribution to your fund, you grant to a nonprofit. We want to make sure you're better connected with those nonprofits, not just the nonprofits, but also the different areas impacting San Diego. We want to make sure you're connected with community leaders that can help inform you, help inform us about the issues related to San Diego and how your philanthropy and partnering with the San Diego Foundation can make impact there. One of the ways we've done that is really built out what we call our donor engagement team. And I was thrilled at the beginning of this year to welcome Katie Sawyer as our Senior Director of Donor and Community Engagement. And Katie is going to be the face of this effort going forward, the person you'll probably see and hear from the most. And unfortunately, Katie wasn't able to join us today because of a pre-existing, very well-deserved vacation that had already been planned. But she didn't want to miss the opportunity to say hello to you, for you to see her and hear from her about the way she and her team are going to support you and engage you with the nonprofits in areas that matter to you. So I'll throw it to Katie.
Hi, I'm Katie Sawyer, Senior Director of Donor and Community Engagement. I'm sorry I couldn't be with all of you live today, but I'm so happy that we're able to share with you our new strategic plan. And I hope that you're as excited as we are about this work and what it means for our community. I wanted to share with you just a little bit about what this new plan means for you in terms of your experience as a fund holder at the San Diego Foundation. With our most recent donor satisfaction survey, we heard loud and clear that you'd like for us to expand the ways that we support your philanthropy and help you stay connected to nonprofits and causes that you care about. So as part of this new plan, we'll be rolling out ways to do exactly that. We'll be offering ongoing learning opportunities to hear from leading experts about some of the most critical issues facing our community. We're also planning new ways to help you stay connected with the nonprofits that you care about in particular. We'll share with you changes and opportunities from the nonprofits that you support. And we're also exploring ways to bring you custom funding opportunities that are in alignment with your interests and community goals. We're also growing our team that's dedicated to philanthropy advising because we know that impact in the community is important to you. Our team is here to work with you on grant-making strategies, to provide nonprofit research, and to help plan ways to engage the entire family in philanthropy. And beyond this, I'd love to hear from you directly how we can best support you. I'd be happy to connect to talk about how we can work together to achieve your goals for our community. Thank you for all of the ways that you give back. I'm constantly inspired by all the good that you do, and I look forward to continuing to work with you in service of our community. I hope to talk with you soon.
Thanks, Katie. So as you could see, we're very committed to increasing our bandwidth, increasing our services, and making sure that you are connected to the San Diego community in a way that informs your grant making, informs your philanthropy, so we can all partner together and make San Diego the great place we know it is and can be even better. And know that going forward, you're going to keep hearing from us. This is not the end. This is something that you're going to keep hearing from us about how we're doing. We're going to continue our survey. We're going to use that as our benchmark in a way to make sure we know how we're doing. And we're going to continue to meet with you and talk to you. And we really enjoy your feedback. And as Katie mentioned, one of the ways we're going to do so is to make sure you're connected to the nonprofits and nonprofit leaders that are doing the great work on the ground here outside of our organization. One of the ways we've already done that is through our Enabling Community Solutions webinar. Since January, we've had a series of 6 webinars where we've brought in community leaders in areas like education, food insecurity, and more. And we will continue to do these things in webinar formats, in-person formats, join you in some behind-the-scenes tours of some nonprofits, host things ourselves, and really make a concerted effort to help bridge the gap between our fund holders and our donors and those nonprofits and community leaders that are doing all the great work through their philanthropy. So, shockingly, we are actually a little bit early on time, so I'm excited. I'm going to go to the last slide and tell you how to communicate with us and actually answer a couple of those questions there, because I'm so excited that people are letting us know what they think and are wondering about. So if you want to know anything more about this strategic plan, you can go to sdfoundation.org/strategic plan, where our masterful marketing communications team has done it again with just a really great looking website with tons of information for you to learn more and get engaged. And as I mentioned, we want to hear from you. As Katie said too, we want to sit down, we want to talk to you individually, we want to hear what you think, hear what you want to accomplish with your philanthropy. So please do contact us at donorservices@sdfoundation.org. A lot of you know us personally, reach out to the people you know, but if you reach out to the donor services team, you'll be able to get connected with the specific area and content expert on our end who can answer your questions better. You know, for example, if you had a question about scholarships of a certain person to get back to you, or about our strategic initiatives, that would be someone else. And to really allow the donor services team to help us reach out to you as well. And also know that our donor services team is available not just for that, but at any time when the San Diego Foundation is open for business. We have a 4-person dedicated team, we call our donor services team, available by email, available by phone, to answer any questions you have, connect you with the right person. We want to make sure that at any time you need information from us, there's a human at the other end of the email, human at the other end of the phone, who can respond to you quickly and get you the information you need. So I did see some chat coming. Please keep them coming. We have some little extra time here, so this is great. I do want to start off with, hearing first from Garrison Fletcher, who did mention that he and his family have been at the foundation from the beginning. And one of the things I miss about being in our offices is meeting with our donors and with our nonprofit partners, and having the Fletcher family in our building, reviewing grant applications and getting all the great support they give out in the community is one of the things I'm really looking forward to. And know as well, the Fletchers are a wonderful example about how the San Diego Foundation could partner with your whole family. Generational giving. We do a lot with supporting next generation philanthropy. If you want to teach the next generation of your philanthropy how to be philanthropically active, we're here to help with that. And folks and families like the Fletchers have done an exceptional job of it. And I think we've learned from them more than probably vice versa. So a question from Don David: given the recent conflict in the Middle East, does the foundation have an alternative investment portfolio that aligns the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement? Also would like to hear about the environment portfolio investments have done monetarily as related to the general portfolio. So for the first part of the question, can't answer that at this moment. I'm not aware, don't believe we've had anything there, but I am going to make sure that we respond to you about that question from our Chief Investment Officer, Matt Fettig, about our investment policies, how we do react to global events, make sure our investment policies are in line with our values. And secondly, the environmental portfolio, thank you for asking. We recently launched about a year, I was in the office when it happened, so it was probably about 2 years ago now, 2 what we call our sustainable portfolios. One is an endowment, one is a non-endowment. And at least in the early going, they were doing great, and they still are doing great. And I really recommend everyone go to sdfoundation.org/investments. You can look at all of our investments and each of our portfolios. We have 7 different investment portfolios to make sure that we're investing your charitable dollars in a way that meet all of your needs, whether it's time horizon, whether it's investment, whether it's risk and strategy. And we look forward to also informing everyone. Every quarter, we have a quarterly investment webinar, much like this, where you can hear from our Chief Investment Officer, Matt Fettig. You can hear from our investment committee chair, Kevin Hamilton, about why they do these things, what our investment strategy is, what the returns are. And you can ask questions in real time too. So invite everyone to do that as well. Direct email from Katie Sawyer, that's there in the post, is in the chat as well. And great, I think that is it for the questions. So lastly, in conclusion, again, oh wait, one last one at the buzzer. Thank you, Shauna. Does the strategic plan address the needs of seniors, such as transportation, technology, et cetera? Thank you, Shauna. As you can see, communities are based in all of our initiatives. I'm gonna ask Pamela if she can provide any more clarity, but again, Shauna will follow up to you directly with more information as well.
Thank you, Brian. And Shauna, thanks for the great question. Does our strategic plan address the needs of seniors in terms of transportation, technology, et cetera? Indirectly, yes. We have had long conversations about singling out often our senior community, and through another program at the foundation, we are very explicitly focused on seniors. We are finding ways to integrate that work through our age-friendly community program into the work of the strategic plan so that seniors are explicitly supported through these new initiatives. So the age-friendly program has been around for a few years. We're very excited to continue the partnership that we have with Donna Ambrose and the Del Mar Healthcare organization, and integrating into the strategic plan prioritization of the senior community.
Thanks, Pamela. And thanks, Garrison Fletcher, as well, for your kind comments in the chat box. Garrison mentions Leslie Harrington, a member of our donor services team, who's been with the San Diego Foundation for more than 2 decades, and is just a wonderful example of the depth of knowledge and experience that our staff has about the nonprofit community and how we're here to work directly with you. If you have a fund at the San Diego Foundation, you have us to help support you in your charitable goals. So use us, give us a call. We're here to help, and we love doing it. It's why we love our jobs. So with that, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Thank all of the panelists. Thank everyone who was involved in the strategic plan. You all are donors and partners. We surveyed you, we talked to you, we met with you. You helped inform all of this. So we're just thrilled to be able to share this with you. Again, please give us a call. Let's keep talking. And thank you so much for joining us today.